guys. This is some positive news. It is very early, but Regeneron saying it is speeding up its timelines to get doses of potential drugs for the coronavirus ready to start human clinical trials by early summer. Now, this is a different program than the one we've been talking about yesterday with Regeneron's rheumatoid arthritis drug. That's an approved drug that it plans to roll out in clinical trials and is already starting those. Now, simultaneously with that, the company is developing antibody-based drugs. These are new drugs that could be both protective against the coronavirus infection and also treat the coronavirus infection. Just 2 weeks ago, the company had given us a timeline when Len Schleifer, the CEO, joined us on air, saying by the end of the summer, they aim to have hundreds of thousands of doses ready for human clinical trials. Now they are saying they aim to have some doses ready for clinical testing, a couple months earlier than that, by the beginning of the summer. So this is some good news. I talked to George Yancopoulos, the chief scientific officer, last night, who told me, things are going really well. They're hitting all of their internal timelines, their best numbers, their best projections. They do say, of course, this is biology. Things could still go wrong, but right now this is moving pretty quickly, and this is encouraging news.
Meg, can you give us you say early summer? What does that mean in your mind in terms of a true date?
In my mind, that means probably June. We've been talking about around August for originally starting human testing with those hundreds of thousands of doses, so potentially 2 months earlier than that.
And then how many people do you think would be part of that test?
We haven't seen numbers in terms of that testing yet. In terms of the Kevzara test, that's the rheumatoid arthritis drug, it was a few hundred patients they plan to enroll there. Early clinical trials can be just a few dozen patients. We'll have to see how that goes. But they do have the capacity to ramp this up in terms of getting lots of doses pretty quickly. So if it proves out to work, and remember, they have done this before with Ebola successfully, they could be treating quite a lot of people. And one of the great things is this is potentially protective. So they could be protecting healthcare workers with
this. So
if
in fact these tests prove to be successful starting in June, what's the timeline then for a larger rollout?
So by the end of summer, having those hundreds of thousands of doses, they can potentially be producing every month. They'd still have to be in testing. But we're hearing about companies doing things very creatively and very quickly, along with regulators and the government, to, while they're testing things, potentially be, using things in emergency settings. So you could kind of see these things potentially rolling out concurrently. We're just going to have to see how the data look. But right now, the news is they've identified hundreds of antibodies that neutralize the virus. That's good news. Now they're selecting the best ones to ramp up and have for human clinical testing in a few months, in potentially June.